Hi everyone, I hope you're having a good day. We are so close to finishing the content. I cannot emphasize how important it is for us to keep going, yes? So we're at the point where we're just about to finish topic 9, and then topic 10 only has 3 parts. We are so close. So we need to make sure that we keep plugging away and not giving up. Okay. All right. Let me just sort my display settings. Here we go. So I want to recap a little bit about how we breathe. I'm just going to show you this clip. So when we breathe in, when our diaphragm contracts, it opens up our rib cage. And when our rib cage opens up, we are increasing the volume. And remember, when you have an increase in volume, you have a decrease in gas pressure, because that was Boyle's law. So I should get this to loop, but it doesn't. So you breathe in, low pressure inside the lungs, high pressure in the atmosphere, so air flows in. When you stop contracting your diaphragm, everything just recoils back to where it was, which means that in that instance, when that happens, you have higher pressure in your lungs, you have low pressure outside, so then air's going to move out again. Okay, so remember that breathing is all about pressures, the difference in pressures between 2 locations. And air is always going to go or move from high concentration to low concentration. Okay, let's keep going. So let's have a look and see, we're going to look at what is in the air, what is in the atmospheric air, and what is in the air that's in your alveoli, because they are a little bit different. So the air we breathe is made up of a whole mixture of gases, okay? So if we have a look at air as being 100% of gas molecules, 78% will be nitrogen, and so on, okay? So as you can see, the air that we breathe is made up of a mixture of gases all together. So let's have a look and see if there's any differences between the air that we breathe in and what's already in our alveoli, okay? Let's have a look at oxygen. Can you see here that we have less oxygen in the air in our alveoli? What about carbon dioxide? Look, okay? So I want you to think about and write down the difference between carbon dioxide and oxygen. So look at just those two. And what is the difference between the inspired air versus the air that's already in our alveoli? Okay, let's look at external respiration. We kind of touched on this before, so it's just really to remind you what it is. So remember that we had 3 types of respiration. So if you look at external respiration, it's pretty much what is happening, the gas exchange in the alveoli and the blood. So this part here. Okay. So we're exchanging gases in the lungs. Internal respiration, we're exchanging gases from the blood to the tissue cells. And cellular respiration is what the tissue cells do with those gases. All right? Just reminding ourselves that there are multiple kind of bits to it. And it all works by using diffusion. Yeah. Okay, so let's look and see how we transport oxygen in the blood. Because we go to the lungs, blood goes to the lungs to pick up oxygen. And then once it's picked up the oxygen there, it gets carried around the rest of the body for all of our beautiful cells to use. So how the hell do we get those little oxygen molecules around the body? Well, that's why we have our handy protein called hemoglobin. Yay! Hooray for hemoglobin. Okay? Hemoglobin is an oxygen carrying machine. It can carry 4. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's one way that we can carry oxygen around in our blood, and that's the major way. The other way that we can carry oxygen is just dissolved in plasma. And when oxygen binds to hemoglobin, it changes its name. So when oxygen is stuck onto it, it's called oxyhemoglobin. When you have no oxygen stuck onto it, it's called deoxyhemoglobin. Yeah. So hemoglobin, the blood comes in, the cell is starving, needs oxygen, and hemoglobin brings in 1, 2, 3, 4 oxygen molecules in the red blood cell, and they make their way to the interstitial fluid, and then they make their way into the cell, and the cell uses those oxygen molecules to do stuff, which we'll get onto later. The other way that we can carry oxygen, as we saw in the previous slide, is just as a gas diffused in the plasma. So it can just sit here, okay, and then we dump it into the interstitial fluid, and then from the interstitial fluid, we go into the cell. Happy days. And that. Now we're going to look at carbon dioxide transport. Now, how do we carry carbon dioxide from the tissue to the lung? Okay, so this was how do we carry oxygen from the lung and then dump it in the tissue. Now we're going the other way. Now we're going to get carbon dioxide from the tissue back to the lung where we need to get rid of it. We can't have it lying around because carbon dioxide creates an acid. Not good. So there are 3 different ways that we can carry carbon dioxide in the blood to the lung. So the cell is ultra happy, it gobbled up its oxygen, happy, and because it's doing metabolism, lots of chemical reactions, it's going to spit out carbon dioxide. Okay, so let's see what happens to that. That carbon dioxide molecule that was spat out into the interstitial fluid diffuses into the red blood cell. Step 1. When it gets into the red blood cell, there's water in the red blood cell, and carbon dioxide and water combine. It's just a chemical reaction, and they make this molecule. Now this molecule is a problem because this molecule is called carbonic acid. And what do acids do? They release hydrogen ions. Okay? So when we have hydrogen ions floating around, it's not good because our pH is going to drop. We can't have that because pH, or a drop in pH, is going to make our hemoglobin molecules lose their shape. And if a protein loses its shape, it loses its function, right? So we can't have that. So what do we do about it? Well, hemoglobin actually holds on to that little hydrogen so it doesn't float around and stuff up our pH. And then this leftover molecule, which is called bicarbonate, it leaves the red blood cell. And that's how we travel to the lung. The other one, so this is the first way. Carbon dioxide traveling as bicarbonate, because we kind of had to do that in order to stop it from lowering our pH. So that's one way. The other way that we can carry carbon dioxide is hemoglobin can actually hold on to a carbon dioxide molecule for us. And that's how we travel to the lung. Happy days. And then the last way is just having carbon dioxide being dissolved, or it actually is just hanging around in the plasma. So there's 3 different ways that we can carry carbon dioxide. But the biggest way is this way. Okay, what I might do is stop it there, and then we'll come back and finish this off.